Hello and welcome back to another episode of the preview show. Today we are looking at the E3 Saxo Bank Classic and I am delighted to be joined by Tiesj Benoot of Team DSM. Tiesj, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
I'm very good. Busy day did you have?
For me, no, it's easy. I did an easy ride this morning and it's only 15 minutes drive to the team hotel. So I arrived after lunch. Relaxed.
Nice. And some boring press duties to do today, yeah?
Yeah, not boring, but present.
Okay, so we're looking at E3, one of a lot of people's most favourite races. Can be described as a mini Flanders, 204 kilometres. We have some of the most famous climbs in Flanders. We'll go through the routes. You can tell us how an expert like yourself can ride some of the sections. And then we'll have a little chat about how we think you might go. So first thing to point out, I suppose, is tomorrow is going to be windy. So we're looking at 30 kilometers per hour as a normal wind, and that might actually reach 50 kilometers per hour. So straight away, Tiesj, when you hear that, what do you think the race will be like?
I think for a race like this, it's really important. And for sure to have a good wind direction. Also, if you see the wind will be south-southwest. So it means the start will be really hard. Crosswind until Oudenaarde actually. First 20k. Normally there's not a lot to happen there, but now it will be. I think it will take us some time for the break to go. Mostly we also see a better break if they raced a bit for it. So let's hope for that. And then we go to Oudenaarde. First cobbles I think are Kattenberg. And then we do go again cross tail to Zottegem, so speed will be on all the way. Will be also a bit stressy in the bunch, means maybe more crashes, but also just a harder race. And Addestraat all the way to Giersberg, not a lot to worry about. And then actually the first real stress comes going to La Houppe. Because on La Houppe on top, not a hard climb, but on top you go left. Really big road. Will be cross head now, but it's really open, so there it's already hard. And a big sprint into the Canarieberg, where Mathieu van der Poel attacked in Kuurne, Brussel, Kuurne. On top left. Oude Kruisberg, cobbles in Ronste. Straight down, and then actually we come on the important parts of the parcours, going over Côte de Trieux. Really narrow road. And on top we'll go really fast over the Hoton because then everybody wants to be in front. When we hit the small roads going into to the Kortekeer, because the position you have there is the position you mostly you have on Tienberg. You have some time or some place to move up, but you won't make up 50 places anymore. So where the cursor is now is Kortekeer, and then you go over narrow roads until the Tienberg, and there the final starts actually. It's 2 hours of racing from the Tienberg, and that's why I love E3. It's always full on from the Tienberg on. A lot of small roads, now also tailwind on top most of the climbs, which makes it nice to attack.
You mentioned the first, almost the first 55k is cross tail. Then we have about the same, but it's a headwind. So do you think realistically that means you'll race hard for 50k, but if there are any splits, they'll come back together before the kind of main section of the race?
Yeah, I don't expect really big splits in the start actually. Maybe 30 guys drop or something, but not real echelons like in Gent-Wevelgem, because you also often have more protected roads, but it just means will be really hard. So it's not necessarily something you see on TV or something you see in the race, but it just gets in the legs, and you see the difference once you come in the final in the last 2 hours, like 70, 80k to go here on Tienberg. If you come with 30, 40 watts more average there, makes a really big difference in the way of racing, and the amount of helpers is still left in the first group. Yeah.
So Tyenberg for me starts the finale of the race. You mentioned it, kind of 2 hours left from here.
Yeah.
Hard climb, not the longest climb in the world. Normally you can go up the gutter, but I think 2019 they put barriers up, so you had to go up the middle.
Yeah, also already in 18 actually. 17, I don't really remember. 16 was definitely open. I watched this afternoon. But I hope it will be open actually, because then positioning is way more important than once you're in front there, it's way easier than the splits come from the south. I also don't like the steep climb on the cobbles, so
You want to cheat and go in the gutter.
yeah, it's not cheating, it's part of racing.
And
Only
then when
the gutters are also open. But yeah, it's like you say, it's a hard climb. And actually when the gutter is open, it's better for the race to open. Makes the race more open, I would say, and positioning is way more important. So yeah, there will be full gas on top and
yeah, on top, wide open,
yeah,
cross
and
tail, 30 kilometers per hour.
we'll go really fast there, and then down towards Berchtesgaden. Actually, this parcours we had the first time in 19, where we go, where we're not going straight to the Bonjeberg, but now we go, as you see, Markenkerkem and back to Schorrissen. And back then we had to Schorrissen, so we go right in Marken. We had a headwind to Schorrissen, and actually full bunch came back again. But now we have cross tail, which means I think splits on Tyenberg will be really hard to close. So it's good for the race actually.
Yeah, so that means that the fight, you mentioned it before, the fight before the Tyenberg becomes also important.
More important.
So the race starts even earlier and it gets harder and harder. That's an important point. Sometimes we see the split on Tyenberg stay away. Sometimes it comes back. You reckon with the cross tail all the way to here, it's got a good chance of just going away?
Yeah, but actually we go right in Marken, so then you come another direction and we go to Schorrissen. Yeah, a bit further we go right. So there it's really open, the road after the village there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go right. There it's really open. So there it's if you have to close a gap, also the guys in the wheel will suffer. You see this road here?
Yeah, wide open.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And it's cross tail.
Yeah, cross tail, and then all the way to Schorrissen, and then again you have tailwind up the next climb, which is Berchtesgaden. In the past we went left here, and we did going back straight away, but now we make a small loop. So yeah, that's the only difference actually.
And so you have this kind of longer period of tail, cross tail, which is going to be important, obviously, to help the break go away.
Also, it helps the cooperation. Everybody wants to pull. Nobody wants to be in the gutter and in the wind. So that's actually good if you're in the first group. Yeah.
So you have to ride. Nobody can cheat.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So then there are so many points where the race can split. You know, we can't spend all day talking about them. We would literally be here all day. From this point onwards, we have climb after climb after climb. I think most people, their eyes will be drawn to Paterberg as possibly one of the next kind of really important points in the race. What do you think of the Paterberg? You said there you don't like the steep cobble climbs maybe quite as much. Is this
Tyenberg definitely I don't really like on the cobbles, because in the gutter it's much nicer. But here it's the climb before Paterberg, and then positioning is really important. Down on the screen, just before kilometer 160, you go in right from the 2-lane to a 1-lane road. In Flanders, we come from the other side. So there it's really important. Yeah, you come from this side, you go in right.
Okay, coming down from there, and then we're cutting up here. Yeah.
Sagan crashed there a few years ago, and then you come down really fast into the bottom, and Paterberg everybody knows. In E3, it's always open, the gutter normally. So again, their positioning really important, because on top definitely there will be some splits, and you go really fast to the Kwaremont. Also crosswind if you come down from the Paterberg going to Kwaremont, and then headwind on Quaremont.
And
But I think the race will be already quite split there.
yeah, I mean, do crosswinds really matter that much when the front group is like 5, 6 riders?
No, but then it means, let's say you are 10 riders, and often you have then maybe 2, 3 riders are not pulling really full, but then you put them more easy on the pressure to go a bit on the side of the road, and then they have to pull. So it means it's good for cooperation. And also, if they are going full in the back, they are suffering. Only few guys are out of the wind, and the rest is full in the wind, which also mostly ensures that if they are coming back, it's not a really big group anymore.
So Paterberg, was it 2019? You were looking really strong throughout the race, but you didn't have the best position on the Paterberg. Is that right? Can I remember?
Yeah, true. 19. There I lost my race actually. I mean, I was still top 20 something, but 15 or something. But I was a bit too far there, and then I had to chase all the way, and my race was actually for victory. It was over. Yeah.
So yes, the positioning for Paterberg, like Tannenberg before it, I think this is one of the things that comes up all the time with a race like this. It's position before the climbs. It's sprint, sprint, sprint.
Yeah.
And we come to Quaremont. So Quaremont,
Yeah.
for me, watching you for many years now, you always seem to be quite good on Quaremont.
Yeah, I like first you have the steep part until the village. So yeah, you have here where we see the road starts to get up. It's already quite hard here, and then turns into cobbles. Gets steeper until the village of Quaremont, where we are going now. And then actually the part I like is there you switch bickering, or already bickering here, but you take a bigger gear, and then it's full gas to the top. And that's what I like about this one. It's also a longer effort. It's about 4 minutes. And even if you come on top, you go left, slightly downhill, but then again, it's uphill to the real top on the big road. So it's actually the longest effort of the race, longest climb.
And how is it to do them the other way around? Because obviously we always see Quaremont and Paterberg. What is it like doing them the other way? You're more tired.
Yeah, for sure. But depends actually. In the end, it's about the legs. But I would say it's different because if you come Quaremont Paterberg, you come into Paterberg downhill, and it's straight away bump. When here you go down, have a flat part, and then you have a slightly uphill part, and then the real climb starts. So yeah, you get some more warming, I would say, where on Paterberg you really have to position yourself in the downhill, and then you go right up. So both ways it's nice, I would say. It's a good combination, and I think the time in between the climbs is more or less the same.
And then the last sort of main climb, main effort, the Tiegenberg. I think 2019 you were almost back on at one point, and then it exploded here again. I think it was Van Avermaet put in a huge attack. It doesn't look much, but we've seen important attacks here, yeah?
It's a hard climb. It's in 3 steps. It's a bit like the Trieux. It's also like you see, it's on the same hill, same side, like the Knokteberg. But it's every year I come on top there, acid behind my ears, full. Really, it's almost the hardest moment of the classics, I would say. Also here, if you are on top, I mean, the hardest part of the race is done. You still have Tienberg, Warenstraat, but normally if you don't drop here, you won't drop there. Let's hope now tomorrow I don't drop on Tienberg.
And then we have the long run into town.
Yeah, also there again, it's tailwind on the big road, which is good for the breakaway. Which means if you can make a gap on Karnemelbeek, it will be really hard to close. Tailwind on the Warenstraat, and then tailwind on Tichem, and crosswind until Harelbeke.
So we're saying it's very unlikely to be a sprint.
Yeah, definitely not a sprint like in the opening weekend, I would say. Like 30 guys together, I think we won't see tomorrow. No.
Yeah,
It's also, like we said at the race, the final starts actually already Tienberg. It's like 2 hours, 75, 80K to go. I don't know exactly. And I had years like in 16, we were only leaders left after this one. So makes it a really hard and nice race for me. The parcours is maybe even nicer than Flanders, I would say.
is it more intense? Obviously, Flanders is longer, but E3 for me feels like a very intense race.
It never stops anymore. After Tienberg, you have all the way big roads, left, right, up, down. Small roads. Also means if you have bad luck, you don't have time to come back. Where in Flanders, you have like going into Canarieberg, a big road, going into Quarem on the big road. You have more moments of recovery, and here it's full gas until after Tigam, and then it's full gas to catch a break or to stay in front.
So you come into the race, yourself and Soren Krag as the two main riders for DSM. You know, almost all teams now come in with 2 riders, 3 riders. It's like the new thing to do.
Yeah, I think for sure to beat Van der Poel, Van Aert, these riders, you need multiple options in the final nowadays. And Quickstep, the Koenig Quickstep, they showed an example the last years how they won a lot of races with a lot of riders in the final. So a lot of teams try to copy it. And for us also, actually, Niels Eekhoff is a really young but really talented rider. And maybe not yet tomorrow, but he will step up in the future for sure. He already showed some of his talent. So yeah, I think we also get to see something from him.
And is there any fancy tactics to use in this race, or is it just about being strong?
It's about positioning on the crucial moments, and then it's about being strong. Because once you're there in the race, you should have a big. It's all about the legs. It's the most intense, like you said, in Flanders, and yeah, normally the result is not lying.
And you did well in Paris-Nice, 5th place overall. Shame the final stage was changed, but what did you think of your result over in France?
Yeah, actually, I was happy with my shape after the problems I had last year with my back in the second part of the season. 1 week again on the highest level. But I got sick actually Friday night before the last weekend, and on my throat and my lungs. And it got worse by racing, of course. And then so the last weekend was actually full for me, just trying not to lose my GC, which I managed to do. On full power, I think I could have come closer. But now, and then I got even more sick in the week after last week. I had some bad days, 4 days off the bike, I think. So shape was definitely good before, but now we will see in the race. I could do some decent training last weekend, so I'm happy with that. And then in the end, I had some extra recovery after Paris-Nice, maybe which I needed. So I'm really curious to see what it will bring tomorrow.
And E3, you mentioned it earlier. It's a race you go well on. I think you've always been top 20 in the 5 times you've raced it. You know, does it feel like a race? Riders like to go to races they do well at. Is this one you like?
For me, definitely yes. Because if it's more or less all the 100 races, I would say it's a really honest race. I like Strade Bianche is also a race like this. Actually, most of the monuments also. So it's always a race I'm looking forward to. It's you do opening weekend also, then you do Paris-Nice or Tirreno, and then into the Flemish Classics. And for me, it's last year's at least starting with E3. So it's always like the first one of a nice series.
And what comes next for after E3? We've got some pretty big races. What's your schedule looking like?
For me, it's Dwars door Vlaanderen, Waregem, next week Wednesday is the next one. And then Flanders, of course. Then I do some training, and then I do the Ardennes with Amstel Gold Race and Liège, Bastogne, Liège. Maybe Flash Ballon, but normally Amstel and Liège.
And hoping to hold that good form through to Liège.
Yeah, That's true. Now I have to find it back, and then I have to keep it until then. Yeah, exactly.
One thing I think everybody would want to know, I'm sure you kind of touched on it there. We have Van der Poel and we've got Van Aert, two phenomenally talented cyclists. How does that impact how you approach the race? Does it change anything, or are you just focused on you and your team?
We are more focused on ourselves, I would say. First, you have to make sure you're coming best prepared you can. So that's the focus through the week, I would say. And then once you're in the race, I think you can adapt a bit. But I would say, like, when I turned new pro, it was also Borne, Cancellara, Sagan. Then I also had to anticipate, actually, when it was possible. And it didn't change now. So on a good day, I will definitely try something. Yeah. And they can also have a bad day. If you see in Sanremo, they didn't have a bad day, but they also didn't win. So for sure, it's possible to beat them. Yeah.
Cool. And hoping that a good day is tomorrow.
Exactly.
Well, Tiesj, thank you very much for your time. I hope it goes well for you tomorrow and you can get up to that podium at last.
Thank you. This interview was good for my karma, I guess. So we'll see tomorrow.